Now, the People's Liberation Party leader, Martha Karua, is going hard at the East African community on notice, or putting them on notice, I should say, claiming that three countries, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, are a threat to democracy. Karua has further criticized the international community for remaining tight-lipped as state-sanctioned human rights violations are being committed against the people. NTV senior reporter Ibrahim Karanja with the details.
It has been 15 days since PLP leader and senior counsel Martha Karua was deported from Tanzania, where she had gone to observe the trial of opposition leader Tundu Lissu. In those 15 days, claims of outright human rights violation and democratic regression in Tanzania have been rife. Kenyan human rights defender Boniface Mwangi and Ugandan journalist Agatha Atuhaire gave a blow-by-blow account of their agonizing ordeal at the hands of law enforcement agents in Tanzania. Karua warns that the region is on the precipice.
We are staring at a regional crisis, not an economic crisis, not a crisis of trade, but of democracy itself.
The PLP party leader has accused Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania of being rogue states, working against the ideals on which the East African community was founded, which are cooperation, freedom of movement and the protection of human rights. She has cited the harassment and torture of both local Tanzanian and visiting activists and opposition politicians in Tanzania, the continued detention of Dr. Kiza Besigye and silencing of political dissent in Uganda, and the crackdown on dissidents in Kenya as a cause for worry.
What has the rest of the world done? The African Union remains silent. The African Commission on Human and People's Rights, which is the right wing or the right arm of the African Union, has not acted. United Nations offers rhetoric but not redress. The United States, a self-declared champion of liberty, is barely audible these days and has its own issues of liberty back at home. Meanwhile, powers like China and Russia shield these regimes at global forums, bringing forth the question, are they our friends as residents of East Africa, or are they friends of our discredited regimes?
Karua has called for urgent launch of inquiries into cross-border abductions by the East African community, the establishment of a commission of inquiry into human rights abuses in Tanzania, Uganda and Kenya by the African Union Commission of Human and People's Rights, as well as the UN Rights Council.
To the leaders of the EAC, you cannot speak unity while jailing, abducting and torturing your own citizens and criminalizing free movement of people, which is the very reason why the Jumuiya exists. To the international community, your silence is complicity. The world must demand an immediate halt to the political repression in East Africa, the release of all political prisoners, and accountability of the state-sponsored torture and abductions, and must support free and fair elections where the people's choices are respected.
For the European Union and all democratic allies, Karua is inviting them to impose targeted sanctions on individuals responsible for enforced disappearances, torture and suppression of civic space. Her address came at a time when the brunt of the democratic repression in Tanzania hit a new low, with news of the registering of the Glory of Christ Church associated with Kawe MP and preacher Bishop Josephat Gwajima, as the state alleges that the CCM lawmaker has been preaching politically insightful sermons.
Tumezungukwa hapa na polisi hapa, sijui wanataka kufanya nini, na maaskofu wamepata taharuki, wamekimbia usiku huu.
Faithfuls of Bishop Gwajima's church found themselves stranded after armed security officers cordoned off the church at Ubungo in Dar es Salaam.
Now, Martha Karua has criticized the African Union and international partners such as the United States, Russia and China for their continued silence, even as there is continued democratic regression in the East African region. She has called for immediate action to avoid a deepening crisis in democracy. Ibrahim Karanja, NTV in Nairobi.